Alright, so I'm just going to test my volume. Alright, so okay, since the volume is done, let's get started. It will be a quick one because holidays are coming and trading it's not really in a good condition to trade. Okay, so anyways, starting off with NASDAQ on the weekly chart. Right, the key levels here I have annotated down. Right, I'll be using the continuous contract chart. Okay, because it has data with more confluence, and I can easier map out the roadmap. Okay, so on a weekly, we have a weekly busy here below. Previous week, this week's low, and then it's below true month open. I believe sometime in the next few weeks we are going to revisit this low here. All right. Um, Whether it takes out this buy stops before this low, I am not too sure, but best case scenario, it does not take out this high here. Okay, so it leaves the high like this, and then we revisit the weekly BC, and it's going to be a longing opportunity to take out the buy stops here. Okay, these two highs, relative equal highs. On the daily chart, you can see that there's a small little daily BC as well. At the same time, it's within the range of the breaker. Okay, invalidation would be this swing low right down here. I would much prefer to see these gaps unfilled right here. This weekly breakaway gap, this is what I'm anticipating. Okay, it's not going to fill this gap. At the same time, we do have inversion fair value gap as well. So lots of supporting factors here. Right, so on the 6 hours, you can see that for the first week of November, we are essentially in a expansion, and then second week of November we are in further expansion. So in the third week, I am or I will be looking for retracements. So it's gonna be something like this. Wrong tool. It's gonna be something like this, and then you see lower highs and then higher. Okay, this is base concept. All right. So for me, my plan would be basically this for the rest of the month. Okay. Um, the buy stops may not be taken out this month, but I'm anticipate a retracement first. Right, we are in the last 2 months of the year, so price action is going to be slightly lethargic. Right, and we are also in Q4 of the year as well. So um, manage your expectations while trading the indices. So far, I do not wish to enforce any strong bias, but retracements first is my current bias. Okay, if you use the projections, we are basically trading into the fifth standard deviation, and I am expecting a reversal back to at least 50% of the range. But this weekly BC would be, I think, enough to take out the buy stops if it is left untagged, and then we can further reverse after taking out the buy stops. Okay, So it's going to be a consolidation market profile for the last 2 months of the year. That is what I'm anticipating. Same thing for ES here. We have a relatively close buy stops that have yet to be tagged, and 2 month open it's below here, and then we have the weekly BC as well on the ES. On the daily time frame, however, there isn't any BC in confluence, but we do have a breaker. Okay, so this up close candle here, this is the breaker block. So any price return into this breaker block, it's actually a good long opportunity, and it's within a inversion fair value gap as well. So for years, I am only looking for this high here because leadership in bullishness is Nasdaq, not ES. Okay. Now taking a look at the SMTs. So SMTs here, as you can see, we have lower highs on S&P, higher highs on Dow, lower highs on Nasdaq. So I believe this is why validate it. I mean, this is why it validates my bias for a retracement first. Okay, leaving the buy stops for a later time in the month or in the year. Right. So I am entertaining the idea of retracements first. Okay. Right now, next we are moving to DXY. So far, very interesting price action for DXY. It is somehow or rather disrespecting this monthly BC here. Okay, on the weekly chart, it's trading back into the breaker. So, best case scenario, I do not want to see any closing prices below 50% of the breaker. Right, it could reach into the consequent encroachment of the wick here, right, and I would prefer it to stop there. We have a inversion fair value gap here as well. So lots of supporting factors for confluence of DXY, and at the same time, because this week was a large range week, next week I am I am anticipating a small range week, right? So basically consolidation. Um, if you have been, I mean, if you are following Romeo on Twitter, you would see that on the 4 hours there is SMTs, higher highs, lower highs, British pound and euro, DXY, lower lows. So we have relative equal highs up here, relative equal lows down here. So I believe we can expect some form of retracements next week before even considering any lower prices. Okay, so that's for DXY. If DXY is to rally, then obviously um, I would be anticipating the indices to trade lower. Right, now next, let's move on to HSI. So as mentioned in the most recent video update, I mean the brief update titled video here, I was expecting prices to respect this bearish fair value gap, CB here, because we have um, higher time frame objectives that has yet to be met. Okay, so I believe it's somehow or other eventually is going to gravitate into this low here before any form of retracements, or I mean not retracements, but any form of reversals is entertained. Okay, so unless this low is taken out, and or price closing above this CB here, I do not entertain any ideas for a reversal on Hang Seng Index. So it's basically going to trade in the direction of the order flow, which is currently now bearish. So this is Hang Seng Index here. Okay, so now we're done with the major indices. I am going to feature BABA in this video here because it has finally moved. Okay, BABA right here. So if you can recall, or if you do not recall, please go and look back 1 month ago. I outlined this proportional block and I gave you the concept that I was employing, and I gave you how this order block is going to work. Okay, so any rally into this order block, it's to be faded right at the opening price and the mean threshold. Okay, I'm using these two up close candles as the proportional block. And for proportional blocks, if you study ICT, proportional blocks are one of the strongest PDA arrays in price action. Okay, so I was expecting aggressive price reactions away from this order block, especially at the opening price, because order flow is bearish. Right, right. So worst case scenario, it's going to trade up into the mean threshold and then reject. But personally, do not want to see that. And any closures above the mean threshold, that will be the invalidation for this proportion order block. So far, it has been respecting the opening price of this order block, which is perfect, especially when you take a look at this week here. The high of this week comes in right about 87.83. The opening price, it's 87.60. So this is perfect. Okay, a little mohawk right up here, it's reasonable, it's expected, right? So this is perfect price delivery here for this week itself. Okay, this is really beautiful, and it took out the 77.77 low here that I was calling for many weeks ago. Um, Many weeks ago, especially I think at the start of October. Yeah, I was calling for this lows here. So right now, price has traded below this low, and I like it that it has closed below this swing low. Okay, so I'm anticipating further downside price action for BABA, right? And I want to see these two up close candles support the price, which means price does not trade back up above the two up close candles here. Okay, so these two up close candles is going to be sponsorships to the downside. For the downside objectives, we have 73.16, we have 70.77. But if you take a look at the monthly time frame, basically what I'm anticipating is it trading it to 72.15, and then it's gonna give some sort of a retracements because this is the mean threshold of the last bullish order block. Okay, so I'm gonna expect some form of retracements after tagging 72.15, but eventually I would like to see it melt down into 57.20 because that is the relative equal lows where the liquidities are rested. So from Baba, mentioned many months ago, the eventual target is right here. Okay, and as you can see, true year opens, they are not trading above true year opens, not even a closing price above true year opens after this candle here. So price is obviously bearish. Okay, and when you're bearish and you are dollar cost averaging into such a structure here, this is just purely gambling, right? Because if you have no knowledge of the price actions or how the market moves, then you are really going to suffer losses. And basically unnecessary losses. So learning how to read price action, it's very, very advantageous for you. Yes, it might take very long to learn to analyze price action, but just take it as a college degree. You're willing to go through many years of education for the exchange of a paper or a certificate that it's only going to boost you a few $100 in your career, in your starting point, right? And eventually you're going to take many more years to advance in career. So if you are using the markets as your means of growing your wealth, I do not see why you do not want to put in effort um, to master or to acquire the skill set required to navigate the markets better. Okay, so that is just um, logic, common sense that I do not understand people. Okay, especially in the group that I'm in, one specific group, right? They are always um, whining about it. They are always um, fading what I am showing them. So it's okay. Doesn't matter to me. I'm just doing my part. Okay. So, anyways, for Baba, next objectives would be 72.15, and other than that, I see no reversals for Baba anytime soon. Okay. Invalidation would be this high here, same thing. Soft closure above this high. I mean, trading above this high, that will be soft invalidation, and trading above and closing above this mean threshold here, this blue line here, which comes in around 91.95, that would be invalidation. Okay, and then yeah, so that's all for this video here. And if you find it insightful and if you find it helpful, do leave a like. And if you have any any questions, you can leave them in the comment section down below. Anyways, just for extra information, for next week, Wednesday, it's for me, it's the only high probability day because on Thursday we have bank holiday, and on Friday I think it's Thanksgiving. I'm not too sure. So I'm only interested in trading on Tuesdays, London, and Wednesdays, New York AM session. Other than that, I'm not too keen on entering any trades for the rest of the week. All right. And yeah, I think that's it for this video here. I might do a trade review. Um, let's see. I'll consider. I'll have to select a certain review for you. Okay, so, anyways, I'm going to sign out from this session, and I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great weekend, and early happy holidays.